Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be recapping the Mighty Nein Echoes of the Solstice one-shot. It was really sick. It was the first live show they've done in a long time, and it was super fun. The crowd was a big boost to it. There are a few things that I want to mention before getting started into the recap. First and foremost, if you're not caught up with Campaign 3 or Campaign 2, spoilers ahead for both of those, and to move on past from the spoiler warning, which I'm going to give a couple more seconds before I move on. Finally, moving on from the spoiler warning, this one shot takes place during the Apogee Solstice of Campaign 3, so it's about 7 years after the events of Campaign 2, and realistically, I think that's everything I need to sort of mention beforehand before we actually get into the recap. So, without further ado, let's get started. We start with Bo and Caleb having just been teleported away from the Malleus Key. They come to in the Mistcath Strand on the eastern part of Wildmount. Caleb still has the collar on, but notices the collar isn't totally working because he can still speak. He asks Bo to break it off. She isn't totally sure that punching it off is a great idea. She might break his windpipe. Before she punches it, she thinks back to them removing it in the past and thinking if she can use any tools, but she actually doesn't have the tools required to remove it, so it's back to punching it off. But before she can, Caleb tells her to hold off. He might be able to do something about it. The collar is made of a smooth stone with metal within it. Caleb uses his minor alchemy skills to turn it into wood over a 10-minute period. While he does this, Bo looks for Ruidus, but she cannot see it from where they are. As Caleb is working on the collar, he thinks about a terrible problem that might have happened with these other collars like it, and how they could have been affected in the same way. He thinks that Trent Ickathon could have been released from his little prison that he was in, and no longer has the working collar around his neck. He successfully turns the collar to wood, and they talk about what happened at the dig site, everything that involves the Bell's Hells and their enemies. Bo rolls a strength check to take the collar off. She rolls a 14, and this is successful enough to remove it. Bo wants to go to Yasha right away. They need to brainstorm ideas with the others. Bo says they need to go now. Yasha is with Caduceus. Caleb teleports them to the Blooming Grove without any issue, as he has a stone from a grave, which is creepy to me. I wouldn't want to walk around with a gravestone piece. The Grove has never looked healthier. The corruption has been pushed back quite a lot over the years. They hear the voice of Calliope, Caduceus' sister. She asks if she can help them. Bo asks if she has seen anything weird. She says yes, it's the solstice after all. Bo asks her to take her to Yasha and Caddy, and she does without much of a fuss. Yasha's saying it's been too long and she's very worried about Bo, and when she sees Bo, her worries are pushed aside and they run up and hug each other. At this point, they see Caduceus Clay step into the area that the others are in. He's happy to see them both. He can see that something is off, and he's going to go get ready to pack up for a journey because he thinks something's up. Before he does that, Yasha and Kat ask what happened. Caleb explains everything that went wrong at the dig site, and that the enemy has taken out the champion of Ravens. Bo says it's bad, and they need to rally the rest of the group. Caddy then goes and actually gets the bag ready. Cad's mother makes food for Caleb and Bo as they look a little haggard and tired. Cad puts his "oh no, I have to leave in a hurry" kit in a bag, and his new armor in the same bag. Caleb thinks about his past and the potential of Trent being free from his prison, and how dangerous that could be. Caleb says they have to get the Nine back together. Bo thinks Jester and Ford will be down, but isn't too sure about Veth. Caleb says they should get Jester first, because Jester can convince Veth to do basically anything. Caddy tells his family that if they don't hear from him in 2 weeks, they know what to do. I'm very interested in what that is. I would love to know what that is, actually. Caleb gets ready to teleport to the Nine Heroes, the ship that Ford and Jester own, as he has a splinter from it. They successfully teleport there to the Nine Heroes, and they look around and see that the ship is docked in Nicodranus, which means it's a twofer because Veth is in the same place. They start yelling for Ford and Jester. Ford can hear them calling from above as he is below deck with Jester. They are repairing the ship. No further comments. They finally fully hear Caleb and Bo yelling, and they run up to meet them. Jester is very happy. Ford is worried that this means that they could be doing something very dangerous very shortly. Jester says she's been trying to call them all day, but only getting headaches from it. Caleb says that the Solstice is doing something weird with magic. Ford looks for Ruidus, but rolls a 9 perception check and doesn't see it due to the fog. Ford asks if they are here with good news. Bo explains what happened with Ludinus and the moon and how he's trying to free a god. Caleb says they shouldn't trust any of the assembly members right now and thinks that Trent might be free. Jester asks if the God Eater is let out and eats a god, can the Traveler become a full god? Everyone is a little taken back by this. The party think they need to get Veth, and they start heading towards her place and see a strong guard presence in the town of Nicodranus. They also see a large sea beast that has been killed by a handful of the guards. At this point, Jester worries about her mother and if she'll be safe. Ford tells her that Blood will keep her safe, and they continue going on towards Veth's place. But Jester tries to send a message to her mother anyway, telling her what's going on and to stay inside to stay safe. But she rolls a 48 on the D100 roll and takes 14 damage, and the message doesn't go through. She asks Caddy to heal her, even though she could heal herself, and he does. They eventually reach Veth's and see that Blood is actually out here dragging a dead sea beast as well. Jester tells him to take care of her mother. He says he was defending the city from these spooked sea beasts, but we'll go back and make sure she's safe. They see Veth's door is closed and there's a handful of boots on the outside of it. Caleb sends a message using the message spell not sending, so it's able to work, telling Veth that they're outside. Veth has gathered the wildling campers here. He tells Veth that they are here. She tells them to come inside. She greets them and says that the world has been turned upside down. Bo asks why, and Veth says that she has a teenager now. He's a fucking monster. At this point, Yeza asks what's going on and sees the party, Yeza being Veth's husband. He says he gathered the campers and told their parents to come get their kids. Veth says that Lucas wants to be part of the solution to what's going on with the world and help with the sea beasts. Caleb tells her they might have something to take her mind off of everything. Yeza gets a bunch of benches for everyone to sit on so they can talk in a talking circle, as is the Critical Role thing to do. Ford says they should explain what's going on, and Caleb again explains what's happening to Veth. They skip over this conversation and just say, we explained it again, which is nice. Jester asks how they're going to deal with this. Yasha asks if Trent was freed. Does that mean that everyone else in the jail has been freed? Veth says if Trent is the pressing issue, they can probably scry on him. Bo says they should be able to, but lewdness might be the biggest threat. Jester thinks that doesn't make any sense because lewdness is so nice. And then Bo explains what happened at the dig site, to which Jester thinks, oh, he's an asshole. Caleb says they should go check on Rexxentrum to see if anything has happened there. They want Jester to scry, but it's not prepared, but she's able to use one of her abilities to quickly prepare it and replace it with another. She then casts scry, thinking about Trent Nicathon. She calls upon the Traveler to help her. He feels the Traveler's arm reach out and grab hers, and they have a look-see. However, it doesn't work. The party think it's best to go look for him personally. Jester wonders if he has a necklace like they do to stop them from scrying and stop other people from looking at him. Jester and Ford both have one of these necklaces on. Ford asks if Caleb wants one. Caleb simply says, let him come. Caddy says this is a perfect job for them. It is a small problem to deal with Trent not dealing with the overall world, and they are small problem helpers. Jester questions if they will help with the whole moon situation. Caduceus says maybe later on down the road. Caleb and Bo both agree that it's best to deal with Trent, as he is very dangerous. Caleb asks if Veth will come with. Veth says she doesn't only just have Luke here, but she has all the other kids. Jester suggests sending the kids to her mother's place, but Veth doesn't want their kids going to a brothel to go to the work or go to a whorehouse, as she so lovingly puts it, as that's, not a great place to send children. Jester comments back saying it's not a whorehouse, it's the whorehouse. But Veth doesn't think that she can go along with this journey. At this moment, they all hear, "Mom, don't be a coward," as Luke runs into the room. He says it's their calling to be heroes and adventurers. Veth says that she has responsibilities here. Luke asks if she's just going to let her friends go without her, and that'll be letting her friends down. He says she taught him that it's a good thing to help the world. Caleb says not to take his mother's love for granted. This makes Luke run back into his room, and then Veth quickly locks the door. Veth tells them this is the reason she can't go. Caleb says they understand, but they don't equal Nein without her. Veth says to let her know how things are going, and they quickly remember that sending spells don't work right now, so it's very unlikely that they'll be able to actually update her until they come back. Jester is upset that she can't message people like Kingsley. She's been messaging people normally, and she misses that concept of being able to do it. Veth tells them to go ahead before she starts to cry. Ford asks if she's sure. Veth is sure she doesn't want to go. She has responsibilities here. Bo says that she respects her choice, but Yasha doesn't. She asks why she's picking kids over them, over the Nein. At this point, the party chooses to head out. Jester says, I hope we don't die. Yasha says, yeah, I hope we don't die because of you, Veth, which is very much a Yasha statement. Yeza and Veth both leave the room. Yeza says good luck, and Caleb finishes the teleportation circle. They all run through without Veth. Caleb is the last one to step through, and as he does, the lock on the door of Luke's room unlocks, and he runs through carrying a bag and runs through the circle himself. They all find themselves in the Cobalt Soul and Rexxentrum. The guards get ready, but they see Bo, and they all stand down. Bo asks for Udala. The guards ask who this is and points to Luke. Caleb asks what the hell he's doing there. Luke tells him to chill. He tells them that he's fine, he's been learning magic for years, and he's a senior counselor at the camp, he can handle himself. Caleb says that he's very talented, but this is super fucking dangerous. Luke says that he's ready. Yasha tells him to hit her to see if he actually is. He throws a punch at Yasha and rolls a 19 for an unarmed strike, but Yasha catches his hand with a 22 unarmed strike of her own. Without looking, she grabs his fist. He pulls his hand free and says they don't understand, man, because he's an edgy teenager now. Bo says hand-to-hand isn't really his thing, try a spell on her. He gets excited by this and casts Caleb's Produce Flame, but Caleb counterspells it and then casts a wall of force around him. He says that Luke is grounded. Caleb tells him that this is too dangerous for him. People that they're going up against could kill him instantly if they wanted to. He knows that he's not strong enough, but he's not a kid anymore, and he can be something. When they started on their journey, they were also nothing. They had each other, and they had a dream to make the world better. But sometimes you just got to do something for yourself. He asks if Bo felt the same way when she was younger that he does now. Bo reluctantly agrees that she did. She says that Yasha definitely didn't listen to her mother. Yasha resents that remark a little bit as her mother died. Luke says without Veth that the Chaos crew is missing a member, and Jester very much agrees. He says that Ford had a captain to inspire him, and he needs one to do the same. Ford says the kid's got game and wants to keep him around. Bo asks for Caddy's standpoint, and Caddy says that they don't really have time and they need everyone they can at this point. They'll take care of him, and tells him not to do anything hero-ish, so don't be stupid. Jester calls him Luke, not the Reckless, which is a nice little nod. Caleb tells Luke that if it's too dangerous, he can send him home whenever he wants to, and Luke agrees to this. Caddy then casts Death Ward on him immediately, because it is fucking dangerous to have a kid like this running around. And he's, already died once, they don't need him to die again. Caleb says they should use the tower to rest in for the night before even starting to look for Trent Ickathon, as it might be dangerous. At this point, a Cobalt Soul member is watching the group and asks if Bo has a moment. He tells her that the archives have been closed to the public and that many wards inside the vault are down. It seems someone came in and set up new traps. He asks Bo to take a look. Bo says that this is bad news. There's very dangerous stuff down there. She'll take a look right away. Caleb drops the wall of force around Luke, and Yasha tells him to walk in front of her. The party follow Bo to the vaults, and they see two Cobalt Soul Guardians standing in front of the entryway. They tell her that they saw no one go in or out. One of them seems very shifty, and Bo rolls an insight check of a 19. He seems to be telling the truth that he saw nothing. She tells them to move, and the Guardian says that they sent someone else down there to investigate. Someone named Aggie. Bo has never heard of them before. A door opens up to a staircase, and marching order. Bo in front. Caleb at this point gives Luke a luck point. Yasha goes behind Bo, followed by Jester, then Ford, then Caduceus, then Luke, then Caleb, but they think Caleb being in the back is a terrible idea, so they push Yasha to the back. They go down a 60 feet floor, and they meet a thick door covered in runes. Normally when people get close to this door, the runes glow blue, but they don't seem to do so as the party gets there. It's not open, but Bo goes to open it quietly, and it opens up to a small storage chamber with very low light. The floor opens up into a tooth-shaped grin, and it says, "Welcome, Bren. You are always reliable." Bren is Caleb's real name for those who are curious. It feels good to be free. Trent now sees how solitude shaped Caleb. Shadows of Trent dance around the room a little bit. Bo then closes the door. Caleb thinks that was just a message and not him actually talking to them. He thinks they need to hear the rest of it. Bo opens the door and the message continues. He says he's come to learn many secrets here and tells them that they are free to learn what he has. There's a part of the floor here that has had a small explosion, and there seems to be a hunched figure standing there. At this point, Daniel, who I will look up his last name, but he was a comedian who opened the show for them, joins the table as a guest player. The party see a dwarf that has let himself go a little bit, an older dwarf, and he's a little bit fat. He's like a fat, short John Wick, as Daniel describes him. Bo runs up and tries to drag him to the floor. Strength check. Aggie rolls a 14 and Bo rolls a 6. He successfully stops her from being able to pull her to the ground and then offers her a drink. She takes it, and it's a foul alcohol. Bo asks if he's the guy that the other two members of the Cobalt Soul sent in. He says he can be anyone she wants him to be. She asks if he's Aggie, and he says yes, and then asks who she is. She tells him that she is High Monk Beauregard, and, he should understand what that means. The rest of the party then join the room. Aggie questions why Luke, a child, is there. Luke is upset and feels that he's been insulted by this. Aggie then offers Luke a drink, and Caleb stops that real quick. Bo asks what Aggie has found, and he turns and says there's a sign of an explosion here, which everyone else saw as they entered. There's nothing else that has been taken or destroyed in this chamber. He thinks that something was there once before, and now isn't. Very perceptive. Ford summons Stargazer and casts the invisibility. He sees a shimmer behind a tapestry and casts Eldritch Blast towards it. He hits it and then sees that the invisible magic is actually on a handle, and no one else can see it as it's invisible. Aggie then runs up and headbutts the same spot and actually successfully hits it. Upon impact, the door shifts a bit. Aggie then needs to make a strength saving throw and rolls a 9. A dark rune appears and bursts into a skull cloud, and he takes 38 necrotic damage. Caddy asks how he's feeling. Aggie asks if Cat is a horse. Caddy says nay. Aggie says he'll be fine. He's a little bit hurt, but he'll be fine. Caduceus heals him a little bit. Behind him, a tunnel opens up to a balcony. When they go through, it opens up to another room. Bo tells Aggie to go in first. As they go into the tunnel, a mouth opens up again. Trent says that they've all done horrible things in the past and they should all suffer for it. He says he's going to tell the Break Queen what Essek has done in the past. Caleb says they might have been too easy on Trent. Jester says this time they'll just have to kill him. Aggie questions who said that. Ford looks for anything else invisible in the room. They step into the chamber, and it goes down to another set of stairs that leads through 3 sets of stairs going down. There's nothing invisible in the room, but they see that at the bottom of the stairs is a wider section of the room that is covered with lockboxes, with all of them having protected runes on them. Aggie starts going down to check out the boxes without looking for other runes going down the stairs. Ford sees as Aggie is going down that there are runes on the stair steps right as he's stepping on them. Dexterity save from Aggie, 23. The rune on the stairs explodes, and he dodges it mostly. He only takes 15 damage from it. However, he falls down the rest of the stairs right on top of the next rune and another dex save of natural 20. This one glows red and he's able to dodge it with expert precision and takes no damage. He continues on like nothing happened. Jester tries to stop him, but he is confident in his abilities. At the bottom of the stairs, it is a lot wider of an area. There are tiny doors down here with a bunch of lockboxes on them. Ford moves up right behind Aggie just to be sure. Aggie rolls perception check, natural 1. There's an open lockbox that he headbutts. A rune goes off, and he takes 76 damage, and he is suddenly turned into dust as it was a disintegration trap. Rip Aggie, he was a top 5 guest, up there with the likes of Spurt. I'm not even kidding. He just straight up fucking dies here. It's kind of sick. The party is all shocked by this. Unfortunately, Ford ingests some of the dust that is left behind. Jester asks if Ford, the Admiral, is okay. He's an admiral now, as he has many ships under his command. Admiral Tusktooth, as he puts it. Caleb rolls an investigation to see if Trent left anything behind. A dirty 20, he sees footprints, and at the base of the stairs, there's an empty vial of a chilled oblivion and a lockbox that is slightly open. Luke asks if they want him to look for traps. Caleb says to step back and to try from a distance. Luke casts Mage Hand, and Jester casts Guidance on Luke. Luke looks for traps. With Mage Hand, he rolls a 15 investigation check. There's traps all over the wall that is filled with lockboxes, except for the one that is open that Caleb found. Luke opens it slightly. Luke opens the slightly opened lockbox fully. There's a piece of paper in there. Luke pulls it out and another mouth appears. Trent says that he was called here to call forth one of the forgotten nightmares. Bo sees another lockbox is open. Luke checks it again. There's no trap on it. They open it and they hear another message come from from Trent. He says, "Let's take this to where it all began. Dinner will be waiting for you." A small illusion of a farmhouse appears and it burns down. This is Caleb's family home. Caleb then hears in his head, "Dinner will be waiting." Bo says Caleb has overcome this. Don't let him get inside his head. Caleb doesn't care that he taunts him. He doesn't need to be breathing anymore, which is fucking metal. Bo says this is an obvious trap. Caleb knows, but he wants to go to the tower first so they can get ready. He's not sure about Luke, though. Luke says that he's young, but he's not stupid. He swiped a bunch of stuff from his parents before he left. He pulls out his mother's Aeorian cannon and a bomb for Fluffernutter if that ever needs to happen. He pulls out a potion, and he says he's not sure what it does, but Yeza has been working on it for a year. He thinks it'll give him strength in battle. Strong like Ford, or he'll become strong like Ford. Ford wants him to stay. He really likes him. He's very different from Veth. Caleb and him will talk later. Bo looks for more stuff in the room. Jester aids with guidance, and Caddy blows some true seeing dust in her face so she has a better chance of finding things. Perception check of 27. She sees the names of the artifacts in the lockboxes. The two that were opened by Trent say Andorus Sap, and the other one says Aetheri Mithril. I probably fucked those up. I think it said methanol, but I'm not too sure. Menthol, that's it. And Theory Menthol is the other one. Bo rolls Arcana check with guidance, and Caleb's help for 30, which is fucking insane. She's been researching for many years. The sap is a very powerful, unholy abyssal ichor that has ties to the chaotic lords, and the Aetherium Menthol is a silver object used to contain certain entities. The process of creating such an object has been long lost. They think they're going to have to fight Trent while he's bound to some sort of creature. She rolls a religion check to think of any abyssal creatures that, he might want to fucking take over. There are many that he could pick from. They could realistically be fighting anything. Everything is bad. Ford asks what Caleb wants to do. Caddy says they know he at least wants to talk. He always likes to talk. Caleb thinks he'll eventually come to him. Jester is worried about Essek, which means they don't have much time. Bo says that they can set up the tower in her office. She has a nice office now. As they head up to the office, Caleb looks back over his shoulder at the open lockboxes and worries about it. They then go to the tower to Planet Dawn. In the tower, Jester casts Hero's Feast. They all get a max HP boost of 9. Very fitting for the Mighty Nine. And they all have advantage on saving throws. Caleb takes Luke aside and gives him his Stone of Luck to attune to over the night. Caleb then casts Wish and uses it to cast Simulacrum. This clone will protect Luke. He gives Luke a harness to ride the clone if the Caleb happens to transform. Luke is grateful and thinks that if he lives, he'll be able to impress a girl that he likes back at the camp. Caleb sees a lot of himself in Luke. Luke says that he is a lot like Caleb, but with a better teacher. They then go to bed, and Bo and Yasha fuck like there's no tomorrow. And apparently, so do Jester and Ford. Hey, listen, I am just the recapper. This is what happened. I have to say it. Luke sleeps well, as the sounds of sex in the next room is pretty normal. Like I said, just the recapper. Don't shoot me. The next morning, the party are all well rested. Bo tells Caleb to keep it together. He says he'll be fine. Caleb says his hometown is small, so it won't be a very big walk once they finally teleport there. Luke drinks the potion that he stole from his dad. It was a difficult drink, but he finishes it off in front of these very powerful people and doesn't want to be embarrassed. He feels himself burn hot from the inside, and then it changes to a coolness of iron from within. His confidence grows greatly. Standing next to the 9, he looks around and feels that he is better than all of them. Apparently this levels him up a little bit temporarily, but Luke is now ready. Ford casts Marine Lair, Jester casts Pass Without a Trace, and then Caleb gives Fortune's Favor to everyone here. Caddy then casts Death Ward on Luke yet again. Jester casts the same on Ford. Ford kisses Jester and casts Crown of Stars on himself. I'm not sure what that does, to be totally honest. Clone Caleb gets ready to go, and then the actual Caleb teleports them to their hometown. Caleb's eyes meets his old home. The fog from Marine Layer starts to go around everyone and blends in with the fog that is surrounding them in the town. They start heading towards the home. Stealth rolls. Ford 19, Bo Natural 1, Caleb 14, Yasha 32, Caddy 31, Jester 17, and motherfucking Luke at 35, which is pretty good. They slowly walk towards Caleb's home. It's the same as he remembers. It's not his, it's someone else's now, but it's the same as when he was a child. Caleb looks at it for a bit. He thinks... he then uses his ring of telepathy and thinks to himself, "Hello, old teacher, I'm here." Trent says, a bit later than expected, "Would you join us for breakfast? Your parents are excited to see you." Caleb says that he's glad he's here today. He has a lesson for Trent, and he will learn it. Trent then smugly says back, "Then teach me." Caleb casts Detect Magic, and the whole home is covered in some sort of magic that has been magically rebuilt. Caleb grabs Bo and says that he's done a lot in this life. If he fails, or if he falls, get Luke and get out of here. Bo says that they'll all walk away from here. They both say no regrets, and Caleb walks in. He smells freshly cooked breakfast as he enters. It's just how Caleb remembers. He hears laughter in the next room. It's the laughter that he hasn't heard in ages. His parents and Trent's is mixed in. Caleb walks into the next room. Ford casts Divine Sense while outside and feels 2 undead beings inside the house. Luke asks if they're all going in. Ford says no, but someone should go in. Jester volunteers, and Ford doesn't really want her to go inside. Bo and Yasha go around back. Jester goes in. Ford follows her in. Caddy, Luke, and Clone Caleb all wait out front. Inside, Caleb steps into the dining hall, or the dining room of the house. He sees a long table with 7 empty chairs, and at the head of the table is Trent with both of Caleb's parents sitting on either side of him. Trent tells him to join them at the table. Caleb sits at the other head of the table, across from Trent. Jester and Ford stand behind him. Caleb says hi to his parents, and they say it's been a long time. Caleb says 20 years since they sat like this. His mother says it's been a long time, maybe they can start again. Caleb asks if his mother thinks it's strange that they haven't changed at all. She says not at all, and that Trent has given them a second chance. Caleb tries to see if they have control over themselves, and with an insight of 16, it's hard to tell, but their reactions are sort of delayed. Caleb knows whatever these things are, they aren't his parents. Caleb asks what kind of game this is, and Trent says that it's the game they started over 20 years ago. Trent says he's proud of him. Jester leans in and says that that she is sorry, and then uses Turn Undead. Both his parents fail to save, and they recoil from the green blast of energy. They fall to the ground. Trent's smile falls. He says that was very unkind for guests. He says this lesson should start with him then, and the table explodes from beneath them. Everyone outside sees the house suddenly explode. Everyone inside must make dex saving throws. Ford makes the save and takes 34 damage. No, wait, it's halved because of the blast scepter and its fire damage. Jester saves as well, who also has the ring of fire resistance, so she's good. And Caleb has evasion, so he succeeds as well, so they all take 17 damage. The house is blasted open. Trent is in the air, floating above, just a little bit. The bodies of Caleb's parents are ghoulish-like figures and are very much still alive. It's time to roll initiative. Initiative rolls go like this. Jester with 25, Yasha with 23, Bo with 18, Ford with 17, Caleb with 13, Luke with 12, and Caduceus with 4. Jester is first, and she immediately invokes Duplicity. Two of them move toward Trent. Jesus. One goes off into a corner, and one goes up next to Ford. She then bonus action casts Spiritual Weapon next to Trent and swings. It hits and deals 14 damage. But it seems that Trent is able to avoid it like it's nothing, and actually he takes 0 damage. Yasha is up. She would like to rage. She then bamfs out her wings and then heads inside the house, or at least what's left of the building. Bo is up. She power walks up to Trent with 70 fucking movement because she's a beast with her movement speed. And then she swings for Trent, hitting the first hit, but it looks like it's about to hit, and he actually moves out of the way. Bo doesn't actually think he's here. She continues to move forward towards the fake father of Caleb. She swings for him, dealing 8 damage, but she takes 5 fire damage in the process as this thing is on fire. Stunning strike, the father actually makes the save. Bo bonus action uses patient defense and tells the others that Trent is not here and they should find the real one. Trent then floats up above the house and holds his arms into the sky, and a tear opens up and flaming stones slam into the battlefield. Saving throws from those within the house. Ford, natural 20 for 26. He takes 17 fire damage and 35 bludgeoning damage. Bo, with a natural 1, fails but has evasion, so she still takes half. She takes a good bit of damage as well. Caleb saves. Yasha saves. Caddy fails. Jester saves. Luke fails but has evasion. Thank God the potion had a thing. There was a lot of damage here. 70 fire damage and 71 bludgeoning damage. Depending on if they failed or not, they took half of that. Ford is up. He puts his Blade of Hexes on... Hexblade's Curse on Trent, but it doesn't find its mark, indicating that he is not there. He casts one Eldritch Blast towards the Trent, but he glitches out of the way. He misses the second one on the fake father, and then hits the last 2 on the fake father, dealing 33 damage to the father. The parents then move toward one towards Jester and one towards Caddy. Bo with Sentinel stops the father from moving. The father then makes an attack on Bo, but misses with both of its attacks. And with Mind of Mercury, Bo is able to use another reaction attack, hitting the father, killing him. Looking back at Caleb, Bo attacks many times at the neck of the fake father, removing its head from its shoulders. Trent uses a legendary action to cast Call Lightning. Jester, Ford, Bo, Caleb, and Yasha need to make saving throws. Caleb goes to make a counterspell, but the Trent above them is not the one casting, so nothing happens. Jester sees from behind a tree outside the house a flash. Ford saves, Bo saves. Caleb goes down even with a save. Yasha fails and Jester saves. Caleb is now up and makes a death saving throw. He fails with a 3. It's fake Caleb's turn, and he immediately turns into a T-Rex. T-Rex Caleb moves into the house with Luke on his back. The fake mom goes to take a hit at the T-Rex and hits, dealing 15 slashing damage and 8 fire damage. Luke is up. He casts See Invisibility to try to find Trent. He sees behind a tree in another area is another Trent hiding. He seems to be very happy with what he's doing. Luke tells everyone about him, and with his bonus action, he hides upon the back of the T-Rex. Caddy is up. He's not a big fan of what's going on and cast mass heal wounds. Sorry, mass heal, not mass heal wounds. Everyone gets back up to max health. Fucking cracked. He then taps his new chest plate armor and gets 5 temporary hit points himself. It's not much, but hey, every bit of health is needed. He then steps inside the house to take some cover. Jester is up. He turns towards the real Trent, or she turns towards the real Trent and tries to find where he is exactly. He is invisible, so she can't quite see. With an investigation check as a bonus action somehow, she can't find him, unfortunately, and chooses to cast Anti-Magic Field. He then suddenly appears in front of her, very weak, very old looking. He was initially laughing, but once he sees that she can see her, the laughing stops. She then moves right up next to him to make sure that he can't get away. She tells the others that he is now visible. Yasha then flies over to Trent and gets about halfway there and has to walk the rest of the distance, unfortunately dashing along the way so she can't attack. Then, bonus action from Yasha, she lets out a battle cry, giving everyone advantage till her next turn. Bo then runs up to Trent with all of her movement speed because she has infinite movement speed, it seems. She swings for Trent and misses with the first 2, but then she flurry of blows and hits twice. Dealing 14 damage with 1, stunning strike, Trent saves, dealing 17 damage with another, stunning strike, natural 1 from Trent, however he uses a legendary resistance to save. Fucking bastard. Bo uses extract aspects, he is resistant to all magic. Bo tells everyone this. Jester at this point realizes that her duplicities are gone. Trent is up. He takes out an orb and breaks it open, and black ichor begins to come out of it and enters his chest. Bo, Yasha, and Jester all must make dex saving throws. Bo saves, Yasha fails, and Jester saves. All 3 are pushed back by the force of the black thing entering Trent. There's now a sense of doom in the air as a 30-foot tall shadow figure stands in front of them with 4 arms and 2 massive horns protruding out of its head. It then runs towards the rest of the town. Matt brings out another fucking battle map, and it's massive. It is probably one of the bigger ones that I think he's ever made. This thing's mini, by the way, is fucking sick, and I want so much. Ford, using Star Razor, casts Fly on himself, and then flies toward the shadow creature, and he casts Hex on it. Caleb is up. Real Caleb stands up and transforms into Gladion, the Nightmare in Ivory. I'm pretty sure that is the dragon from Campaign 2 that they fought twice. So, that is badass. He then flies towards the shadow creature himself. T-Rex Caleb runs after it as well, but doesn't fully reach. Luke then casts Enlarge on the fucking T-Rex Caleb. This is a kaiju battle. Let's go. The shadow uses a legendary action to use an Abyssal Tendril on Ford. It hits, but Ford is able to use Armor of Hexes to force it to miss. Caddy then dashes towards Yasha and bonus action casts a Holy Weapon on her. Jester is up. She casts Gate and pulls the Traveler through the gate right in front of the shadow creature. Artagan, or the Traveler, isn't totally hyped about this, but anything for Jester. Artie is up and he casts Chain Lightning on the shadow, and it fails. He deals 38 damage to it. Yasha is up. She runs up to it and starts swinging. She hits and deals 101 fucking damage in one swing. With all of her bonuses and all of the magic from Holy Damage or Holy Weapon together, this is not a crit, by the way. This was absolutely cracked damage. She then swings again and hits for another fucking 59 damage. It's 160 damage in one turn, which is cracked without a crit. But it doesn't seem to have much effect, unfortunately, which is bullshit. It should have a ton of effect. Bo is up. She rushes up and swings natural 20 and hits the second hit as well. On the first one, she does 19 damage, and on the second one, she does 16 damage. Flurry of blows. She misses the first and misses the second of her flurry of blows. She then uses 3 key points to do a debilitating barrage to make it weak to cold damage. It's now the Shadow's turn, and a pulse of necrotic damage booms out from the shadow creature, and the people of the town caught in the pulse start dropping dead. The party all take 31 damage. There is no save. Yasha halves it as she is resistant to necrotic damage. It then looks at Yasha, and its eyes glow, and a beam comes out of its fucking forehead, and it's red, and it goes right into Yasha's face. Saving throw from Yasha, natural 20. She takes 75 force damage. That's on a fucking save. That thing is cracked. Bo uses a reaction attack, but misses. Caleb is able to see the egg within inside the creature, but is unable to tell anyone because he is a dragon. Don't know why he doesn't tell anyone. Dragons can speak. The shadow begins to move. Everyone in range gets an opportunity attack, but they all fucking miss, except for Beauregard, who buys another reaction and crits, but she can't stop it from moving, as Sentinel shouldn't work on things this big, and I totally agree. Ford teleports in front of it using his Relentless Hex, and swings twice with Star Razor, dealing 42 damage, and then uses a 3rd level Divine Smite to add 16 more damage. Legendary reaction to Void Claw on Ford, but Armor of Hexes forces him to miss again. Caleb is up. He lands next to Ford and uses his Ice Breath. Con save from the shadow. It saves, but takes full damage as it is weak from ice damage now, or cold damage. It takes 77 damage. Caleb then uses its Frightful Presence. However, this only scares the townsfolk to continue to run away. T-Rex Caleb then runs up and bites the Shadow's ass. Unfortunately, the bite misses, but the 2 claw attacks make purchase for 21 damage and 14 damage respectively. Luke is up. He looks for the egg inside. He's able to see it. He casts Archaic Bolt with Sneak Attack on the egg for 28 damage. He tells the others to start focusing on the egg. Caddy is up and he prays to the Wild Mother. He asks for the black ichor of the shadowed creature to become clear so that he can see inside it. A visage of a woman's face that is very disappointed appears, and the shadow creature turns clear. He ends the Holy Weapon spell, making any creature within 30 feet of it, or any enemy within 30 feet of it, take 28 damage from the spell being cancelled. Jester is up. She runs up to Artie and holds a guiding bolt, wanting him to do the same. He enhances it and she fires. However, she rolls a 14, missing. Unfortunate. Yasha is up. She flies towards it and tries to hit the egg, but misses. She then changes to the shadow creature's body and uses Reckless Attack and Great Weapon Master, but still misses. She uses Fortune Favor to try to hit, but still misses anyway. 3 bad rolls in a row, which is always shitty when that happens. Bo is now up. She tries to run up the creature using an acrobatics check of 25. She successfully runs up. She reaches into the chest of the creature, and her hands burn from the shadows. She is trying to pull the egg free. Strength check, natural 20. She pulls it free and looks towards the white dragon and tells him to open wide. The shadows are pulled into the egg, and the tendrils grab the body of Trent Eckathon and pull him inside as well. She throws it toward Caleb, who then blasts the egg with his cold breath and then elbow drops it. At this point, T-Rex Caleb then runs up the back of the dinosaur's back, and they both roar simultaneously. Caleb transforms back and sees the crater he left behind. The egg is still there. Many were saved, and they cheer and clap for the whole party. At this point, the entirety of the crowd in the live show also cheer, which was very excellent cueing from Matt Mercer. Jester thanks the Traveler, or Artagan, depending on what you want to call him, for helping. He says anything for her, and he goes to head out, but Jester casts Divine Intervention, which works just automatically for her, because she's level 20. And she just asks him to hang out while they help the town people recover for a little while. He says anything for her, very sarcastically again. He causes flowers to grow, and more people start to cheer. Caleb, the Calebs, open a demi-plane and shove the egg inside. He then welcomes Luke to the Mighty Nine. Caleb says that Luke is still grounded. Luke says that this was very scary and wants to go home, but wants to come out with them again sometime. Caleb says 9 times a year. Ford says he won't tell his parents of what happened here mostly. Luke says that Ford is very cool. Bo thinks they should get Luke home, but only after they party tonight. At this point, Ford agrees with that sentiment, and then looks at Jester and asks her to marry him. She says yes. They kiss and Artagan makes flowers grow all around them. Caleb gets the cats of the tower to start making food for the entire town and the Mighty Nine. Above them, however, you can still see the ley lines of the Solstice, as that story is still being untold, and the session ends here. And there you have it, the recap for the Mighty Nine one-shot Echoes of the Solstice. This was super fun. If you were just here for the recap, this is the end of the video for you, as, you know, I do want to make more of a discussion out of this video, so I'm going to. So if you don't want to be here for the discussion, thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. I do these recaps every Friday for Campaign 3 and the occasional one-shot when they happen. So if you enjoy these or just want to be caught up in some form or fashion with Critical Role, this is how I do it, just so other people can be caught up. And if you're here for the discussion, we will get into more of a discussion right now. So for the discussion, I want to talk about a few things. First and foremost, this was fucking great. I started watching with Campaign 2, so this is always going to be awesome for me, for us to go back and to be able to watch this and enjoy them is so cool. I loved the live crowd. The live crowd always adds just a bit of fun to everything because they interact with them. They, people react the same way that I do, but they get to, the cast members get to actually see it. It's really cool. I do love seeing the Mighty Nine. I will always love seeing the Mighty Nine. Like I said, I started with them. They are my favorite group. Because of that, I have that nostalgia for them. And this really made me want to go back and watch all of Campaign 2, which I fucking might. And I just really enjoyed this. Not to mention, a hilarious guest character. I don't know how many times they're going to have a guest character show up, him die immediately, and it'd be fucking hilarious. It's happened twice now. I think there might have been one in Campaign 1, and I don't think it's happened yet in Campaign 3, but I really enjoyed Aggie and Daniel. He opened up the show with a bit of a comedy act, and while it was good, I was just itching for the start of the one-shot. But if I knew he was going to be a guest, I probably would have paid attention to him more. So I feel bad about that. I still don't know who he is, but I'm going to have to look him up after this because I thought he was, entertaining while he was there. So fuck it. I got to give this guy a chance to entertain. But yeah, he was great. The guest was great. It was very short-lived, but it was good. I very much enjoyed everything that happened here. I love Luke. Luke was a great idea. Veth was a character who has been struggling with staying with the group basically the entirety of Campaign 2, where they were like, I don't know if I want to stay or anything like that, especially when she became Veth again. She had the chance to return to her family. So the idea of using Luke 7 years later is great, especially if you know what happens to Luke during Campaign 2. It makes it all the much cooler to see him here now with the group, and I very much enjoyed it. So I kind of want to move on to my predictions now. I made a predictions video a little while back for this one-shot because I was very excited for it. And I couldn't have been more fucking wrong. I thought they were going to, defend the god, mainly Artagan, or the Wild Mother, and I thought that was going to be what everything was about, because, the gods are all terrified currently in Campaign 3, so I figured that's what it would be about. I didn't even fucking think about Trent and I thought that was great. Focusing on Caleb was awesome, because Caleb, to me, was one of the characters who kind of got the short end of the stick. They could have given him an entire arc in Campaign 2, to sort of deal with Trent, but they only gave him a couple episodes, which kind of hurt me because, they already had 141 episodes of Campaign 2, but what's 145? But that was my thinking back then. So giving them, this episode to sort of deal with Trent again is super satisfying for me, and I'm so happy that Trent finally is fucking gone. He's removed from the picture. He was always a threat, potentially still lying there in whatever asylum he was in, but the idea that he is now gone is sick to me, and I'm very happy. And Caleb got something really cool out of this, and I'm very much happy for everything that happened. I also want to talk about their new character designs, how I like them all, and I didn't expect them to be level 20 with the exception of Luke, who wasn't level 20, who was much lower in level, which I thought was very fitting because he's a fucking kid, but at the same time, it was all great. I really enjoyed their character designs. Ford specifically made me laugh when I saw his character design, and there's a clip of them showing off the character designs, I think at the end of the one shot, where they go through them all, and then they get to Ford, and Travis just goes, "She makes me wear these things," and I thought that was so funny and so great. I very much enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it opens up these characters to be back into the fold for Campaign 3 if they want to be reintroduced in any meaningful way, especially after both Ford and Jester sort of asked about the solstice and what's going on with the moon. Ford at one point literally suggests they're going to go to the dig site and sort of do a full-scale assault. So I would imagine we're likely going to see them in Campaign 3 now, especially after what Allura said about sort of having communication with them a little bit and some of their allies. So I'm very much hoping that this opens the door for them to now enter Campaign 3. So yeah, very much enjoyed this. The only prediction I got right, by the way, was Caduceus. So there's that. But hey, I'll take one prediction correct. And I like I said, Caduceus to me is Talzin's best character. Ashton is slowly moving up the ranks of that, but Caduceus is always a treat. I love that he's so blunt with everything he says. I also liked Yasha a lot here, as she was very blunt with Veth, saying, hey, you're kind of letting us down here. I don't appreciate you not coming with us. This is, the fate of the world. Your kids will all fucking die if you don't come with us. So what Yasha was saying was very true, if not very hurtful, but I very much enjoyed that Ashley was so willing to be so honest with that character, because that is absolutely what Yasha would do. She would be blunt, she would be honest, and, I think that's perfect. A perfect way to sort of deal with the character. And I also love that we got Luke instead of Veth. Like I said earlier, Veth was a character who didn't necessarily want to continue adventuring, but Luke sort of embodying this idea of this is in our genes, we are adventurers now, and then sort of jumping into the fray is so badass to me. I very much enjoyed the character. I loved the whole, you don't understand, man, I'm a teenager thing. I love it. It's so great. It's so perfect. Perfect character. He was great. And he was a nice foil to Caleb, because Caleb was like, I would imagine if Luke wasn't there, Caleb would have been on like some sort of super destructive path, would have been super angry all the time. But adding this layer of a character to sort of pull him back in and be like, hang on, I gotta be smart here, was fucking perfect. And Sam, while being the comedy-centric person of the cast, also knows how to make a very good emotional through line. And I very much enjoyed Luke's presence. It was perfect. So yeah, overall, loved this. Love the Mighty Nine. Hope we get to see more of them soon. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this one shot down below. And yeah, I will see you guys on Tuesday with whatever video I choose to make next. See you guys then. Peace.